First in-depth review of the Sim Racing Expo 2023. Wheels and motion rigs galore. Check it out right here, right now.
Greetings Rommies and welcome to Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and today sharing news of the Sim Racing Expo, which is behind us. I'm not alone, as you can see. I have with me our wonderful Ike, who together with Cody, who is jumping around behind me, yikes, is of course also at the Sim Racing Expo. We are meeting a lot of people, we're gonna bring you a lot of news, and this is one of two, maybe three videos, because we've been talking to everyone and anyone that would meet with us. So, with no further ado, Ike, how do you feel?
I'm exhausted, but Sim Racing Expo has been absolutely fantastic. The 2 days that we've had so far has been absolutely fantastic, and we've got another day left to go. We have had conversations with Asetek, SimRep. It's just fantastic. If you have an opportunity to come to any of the Sim Racing Expos going on around the world in the next couple of years, it's a really good thing to get into, I think.
So, what do we have for you today?
Despite the rather oversized booth at the Sim Racing Expo, as well as the presence of a yummy Aston Martin Valkyrie, Fanatec didn't bring much in the way of new products this year. Not the end of the world on the face of it. Having rigs to get your hands on the latest and greatest of Fanatec's gear is what we're here for, right? But that too felt lacking. The F1 rigs we saw last year have made a return, sporting new CSDD 12 and 15 Nm. The Bentley wheel, also on show last year, has been in a state of soon TM for longer than we care to remember, and rather than being able to drive the wheel this year, it was raised on a glass cabinet, out of reach for true playtests. And the last offering was the QR2, which we already saw and showed to you in last year's SRE video. Coming back to the CSDD bases, Fanatec has added a 12 Nm and a 15 Nm base to their roster, the latter carrying the PlayStation compatible moniker. This now means that Fanatec offers a staggering 4 choices of torque output in the CSLDD range, 5, 8, 12 and 15 respectively, all of them compatible with a large gamut of rims and all compatible with the same mounting hardware. All of this comes at a price, as the 12 Nm base alone costs €700 USD, while the 15 Nm solution burns a hole in your bank account of €1,000 USD. It's a bit too early to say if it's too much, but it's a lot of money either way. With that said, Fanatec have promised that these bases won't get as hot as other manufacturers do, even on longer driving stints. Coming back to being a kid in a candy store that we mentioned in the podcast extra, the new candy this time was the Club Sport DD 12 Nm base, which feels fine bearing in mind the torque output. Amongst the SimuCubes, Asetecs and other manufacturers though, it was nothing to write home about. The rally button module, however, is an excellent addition, allowing some compatibility with non-Fanatec wheels. Both wheelbases come with a fully developed marketing full force, which supposedly makes the force feedback even more feedbackier. We suppose it could be something akin to Logitech's G923 and DD Pro with their true force effects that uses canned force feedback effects to simulate engine rumble and similar effects through the steering wheel. Not new, however, is the promise of releasing many, many more products soon. We'll believe it when we see it. Despite all of that, they are just 2 new bases using tested technology, not exactly revolutionary. We think the big booth was trying to overcompensate for the lack of creativity in the land of the now walled garden called Fanatec. There are glimmers of hope in the form of the rally button box, and we still hope beyond hope that Fanatec ends up bringing something interesting and different again that makes our hearts beat faster, because for now, there's more interesting things happening elsewhere in sim racing. Our unofficial conversations with Fanatec engineers at the show made it clear. Fanatec has lost its grasp on what is happening in the market and are looking inwards, self-satisfied with what they've achieved, which is no small feat. We'll give them that. We'd love to see Fanatec coming back to being that company that listens and pays attention to the potential of the sim racing space, of its community. But seemingly they're done with that now. The very grey goo of mediocrity has taken Fanatec, and they're happy to sit in it while the money rolls in, just like any other EA or Disney.
As you can see, this is the base for a motion rig that moves in all directions, forwards, backwards, up and down, and most especially sideways. The technology in the model they brought to the Sim Racing Expo will soon be updated with even easier to plug systems and controllers, which will also be smaller while still packing the same punch. That's why PT Actuator are selling this model at 20% discount at the moment. The belts can be activated separately or both together, which can help with the immersion, as you can imagine. You will need a space of roughly 2 × 2 meters to set this up, but with the added bonus that because everything is well thought out, it won't destroy your floor, as the wheels PT Actuator uses only move over a specially designed silicone rubber plate that comes with the base. Another thing you'll need is 15,000 euro USD for the whole system, as it was on display and you can see on the video.
Right now, the official price is 15 grand.
Okay.
So, for any kind of customer who is interested to pull the trigger today, they have a 20% off.
As said, with 20% discount right now before they upgrade to the newest technology, including free shipping. The new technology is planned to be available from end of this year on. But of course, you don't need to buy everything all at once. You can start with one part and then move up little by little, from 2-dimensional action to what they call 6-dimensional action, from 3,000 euro USD to the full 15,000. And if you already have a rig and don't want to ditch it, you may be able to add it to the PT Actuator system, but that is something you'll have to discuss with them directly, as it depends on the rig, of course.
So that was PT Actuator, which is a very interesting proposition. While it costs 15,000 for the whole shebang, it's at least coming up from 3,000 if I understood correctly. And it's a very interesting system, also because of the sideways motion and exactly because you know how much space you're going to need, something like 2 meters by 2 meters. So I'll have a closer look to that. Also, we are meeting with Race at Home, who use that for the rigs, and see how they are applying that. So PT Actuator is costly, but a very interesting proposition.
Now, if you don't want to go through the trouble of setting everything up and doing all the tuning needed for the PT Actuator system, Race at Home has got you covered. Using the PT Actuator technology, they deliver the complete motion rig set up in a way that you put it together easily, excluding seat, pedals, wheels and monitor, which they leave to your discretion. Also, because they expect most sim racers to already have those the way they prefer them. They also deliver the software to fine-tune the motion rig to your liking, which activates any changes you do instantaneously, so you don't even need to leave the sim you are on and can continue testing the settings right away. Unluckily, for now, you cannot load different configurations depending on what you are driving at the moment. Also, they can paint and decorate your rig according to your wishes. For the Sim Racing Expo, they brought a rig that was painted and decorated specifically in the colors and the logo of the local football club, hence the yellow and black design. When you buy a Race at Home system, you don't buy a one-size-fits-all product, but one designed specifically to your wishes. This means that for around 14,000 euro USD, you will get exactly what you pay for. We were among the lucky ones who could test the rig and can say that especially the lateral forces add to the driving feeling. It took me a couple of laps to understand. I had to listen to what my body was telling me, but once I started listening, that was something that informed my driving. I'm sure with hours and hours of experience, I would be able to be fully aware of what the rig would be telling me at any moment. It was an exhilarating exhilarating experience for sure, and this motion rig, as was set up for the Sim Racing Expo, was helping me understand my driving better. Of course, I would have fine-tuned some inputs differently, but that's what we all do with our systems anyway. A wonderful detail was also that the system was set up to give you a small kick when changing gears, as should be. Another nice thing about Race at Home is that all electronics required fit into a box as small as a wine cabinet, which may be one of the reasons the WAR seems to be high with this product. Compared to other motion rigs, the Race at Home product clearly delivers a finer experience and more nuanced driving immersion, all for a price comparable to other offers in the market. It's in any case an interesting product, if you can spare the money.
Patrons help us bring you better product reviews and sim racing news. For example, these Sim Racing Expo specials. Become our hero by becoming a patron at patreon.com/vromvrom. Amongst other perks, becoming a patron will fix your name for posterity like this, but you'll also be able to participate in our podcast recording, get to know what we plan and what we're doing, and we'll be able to take part in our decisions. So, a big thank you to our patrons and members. If you come here often, please consider subscribing. Asetek looks like a different story from Fanatec. Although their firing up the glorious Gibson V8 was a little bit too much welcome in the confined spaces of the Messe Dortmund, their presence was a positive one at the Sim Racing Expo. On display, they had a familiar set of rigs with some extras for flair, including the previously mentioned LMP3, a Formula student using the Asetek quick release, as well as a fully enclosed cockpit. Not their own, but still using the Asetek ecosystem to make the most of the immersion available. We got a good look at everything Asetek had to offer, starting from the simplest but potentially most impactful product, the Asetek QR to USB adapter. Plug the third-party wheel into the USB plug, fix the adapter to your wheel, with a variety of adapters to suit every distance from the wheelbase you could desire, and attach the completed wheel to any Asetek base. And the base will accept it as a known wheel. No, protect our ecosystem here. We appreciate this isn't a new product, but the first opportunity to be hands-on with the universal quick release, and it's every bit as high quality and durable as we've come to expect from the newest European wheelbase maker. Next up, the new design ethos in Asetek's wheel design is another step forward in sustainability and modularity. Now you can choose which wheel design of the many available you want to use and add it to any of the button box designs they have on offer, getting your very own wheel and button box combination. Asetek did have GT or Formula style wheels available previously, but these will take a backseat to the new button box and handle design. Something we've seen from some of the more Eastern manufacturers, but not interpreted in such a sleek way. Once assembled, you would need a keen eye to be able to guess that the wheel wasn't one piece. The button boxes have two tiers at the moment, predictably named La Prima and Forte, with the Invicta possibly coming next year. Both button boxes will be €379 USD with no rim, or €499.99 USD with any of the 6 rim choices available. A note here for potential buyers into this, there was one rim that is more expensive than the rest, the Round Rim Comfort Plus. If you're looking at getting more than one, assuming the deal price doesn't change, definitely include this as part of the deal when it gets released on the 20th of November, if it's available. It's a very comfortable wheel to hold and at worst worth the extra outlay if you don't like wearing gloves when sim racing. Coming away from hardware for a moment, there have also been updates to RaceHub, Asetek's management software that, as said in the Romcom's Extra podcast, had its roots in Simucube software. It now features new configurable lights and effects, from flag effects to visually informing that a car is beside you. The options are far more comprehensive than they ever were, and add yet another feather to the cap of any fully fitted suite. Asetek have been quite concentrated on wheels this year, and we think it's an inspired decision to let the user decide on the colour and material finish you want, as well as the button layout that you want without ramping up the price. The USB quick release is also a fantastic addition to the Asetek lineup, and Asetek proudly displaying different wheels by different manufacturers all working perfectly with their QR. Just one thing, Asetek, maybe leave the ignition keys to the LMP3 at home next year.